Good afternoon and welcome to Yorkshire Voice. I'm James Fountain. Coming up on today's programme, Yorkshire votes in the European elections. We look into criminal gangs keeping scoreboards of knife and gun crime. We meet the Leeds family raising money to give their 4-year-old son life-changing treatment in America. And find out how a special needs school in Harrogate got its new playground. But first, it's polling day here in the UK as we vote for our representatives in the European Parliament. Polls opened at 7 o'clock this morning and will close at 10 o'clock tonight. Our political correspondent Tom Clayton joins me now in this studio. Welcome, Tom.
Thanks, James. Yes, it's been a day of speculation as we prepare to welcome in either new or returning members of the European Parliament for the Yorkshire and Humber region. Today we've been voting for the parties as opposed to the candidates like you used to, due to the use of the party list system for the European elections. Only 2 candidates are returning for election, but other than that we'll have a new crop of European representatives. The parties standing for election in the region are Change UK, the Conservatives, the English Democrats, the Green Party, Labour, the Liberal Democrats, the Brexit Party, the Yorkshire Party and the UK Independence Party. There has been controversy for British voters overseas as some expats who normally vote via post say that their voting slips either arrive late or not at all. People are blaming local postal services in countries like France, Italy, Poland, even as far out as Hong Kong and the USA. There is hope that their votes will still be able to be counted as part of the ballot. Elsewhere in Europe, different countries have different voting traditions, so some of the other member states won't be voting today. The latest the country will go to the polls will be Sunday. This is why we won't find out who has been elected to the European Parliament until Sunday night. Either way, it's been an interesting campaign along the election following all the camps, and it'll be a fascinating result regardless of what happens on Sunday. Don't forget the polls close at 10 p.m. this evening, and the results will come through thick and fast at the end of the weekend. Back to you, James.
Thanks for the update, Tom. A family in East Leeds has launched a £70,000 fundraising campaign to get life-changing treatment for their son. 4-year-old Sam Mitchell from Colton was born prematurely and left fighting for his life. Surviving against all the odds, he suffered brain damage and has a type of cerebral palsy which limits movement on the right side of his body. Abby McClure visited the family to find out how taking Sam to America for treatment may change his life.
Sam is a fun-loving 4-year-old who loves dancing and playing outside. He loves spending time with his mum Emma, his dad Alistair and his older brother Gabriel, who is 7. But day-to-day life can be difficult for Sam. He has hemiplegic cerebral palsy, a condition which makes it hard for him to balance and use his right arm and leg. Emma says that although Sam is a tough and resilient child, it's hard to watch him struggle.
More than anything for Sam, he can't walk very far, so in the moment he looks kind of full of energy like he can, but sometimes we'll go for a walk with the dog and he's only managing 2 or 3 minutes before he's saying he wants to carry or wants to go home, so his endurance is really affected. And also he's got a learning delay because of the brain damage. The constantly rewiring is done brilliantly well, but that's obviously impacted his learning to some degree as well, so he's got about a 10 to 12 month learning delay.
The family have launched the fundraising campaign, which they've called Sunshine Sam, to pay for 2 life-changing operations in America next year. The main treatment, known as SDR, is only available to some patients on the NHS. Sam doesn't meet the criteria as his cerebral palsy only affects one side of his body.
We just think for his future, for his confidence, if we can get this sorted out now, if he can just join in a lot more and walk a lot further and just be a bit more aligned to where his peers are. It's all about confidence, isn't it? So I think if we can help him just to feel good about the things he can do and just strive, then that's what we want to do.
Sam will have 3 weeks of intense physiotherapy in America after the operation, as he will essentially need to learn to walk again. His family and friends are putting on cake sales, raffles and a ball, and Sam's dad is even doing a skydive, all to reach their grand total of £70,000.
To find out more about the Sunshine Sam campaign, you can visit our Yorkshire Voice website or follow the campaign. It's Team Sunshine Sam on Facebook. Now, Leeds Bradford Airport have announced that they will be starting up flights to Tunisia again. This comes after all the flights to that area were suspended following the terror attacks in 2015, which killed 38 people. Yesterday, Tunisian airline Nouvelle Air provided the first flight from Leeds Bradford to Enfida. The number of armed police on the streets of Leeds is at a record high. That's according to figures from the Home Office. This follows a pledge by the government to increase armed police on the streets of England and Wales after the Bataclan terror attacks in Paris. There are now 180 officers in West Yorkshire who are allowed to use firearms. That's despite the number of police officers dropping. Criminal gangs in the UK are keeping scoreboards of knife and gun violence. That's according to London Metropolitan Police. It's been reported that gang members are giving each other points for stab and gunshot wounds on victims. The points are scored according to the area of the body targeted and the severity of the wound. This brutal game is fueled by videos on YouTube where gang members brag about their crimes. Some of these videos have hundreds of thousands of views. West Yorkshire is the second worst region for knife crime in the country. Extra funding has been provided to tackle the problem.
In Leeds, for instance, we've got Safe Schools police officers, so we've got 26 Safe Schools officers in 31 schools. We're just about to put officers in early help hubs, which the council's setting up, and they're all going to be delivering around safety and loads of other kind of PSHE curriculum activities in schools and outside of schools in youth activities like this. The £4 million will hopefully bolster that. So that means we can work with partner agencies and get them to deliver the intervention work we want to, either kind of like in areas which we've got concerns about, or with the groups of children we've got concerns about, or even with actual individual kids we've got concerns about in regards to safety around knives and stuff like that.
A charity build project has helped provide a new playground for a special educational needs school in Harrogate. Springwater School has received a series of donations that have been used in order to create a safe, engaging play space for their students. Our reporter Daniel Swales went to find out more.
Springwater School in Harrogate specialises in teaching children with special educational needs. Since October, the school has been without a playground. However, thanks to a project kick-started by the children's charity Variety and some generous donations from local businesses, the children of Springwater will once again be able to get out and enjoy their own playground.
It's been a complete redevelopment of the play space outside. We had a very out of date, very downtrodden space, and it needed complete redevelopment. So a project of this nature is absolutely unattainable from the funding we receive. So this kind of support is really, really important.
It'll be really beneficial for the students just because all the social interaction they'll get, the confidence that they'll build, exploring new things, and even for us building relationships with them as well. Like outside of the classroom you can be a different sort of person, you don't have to necessarily be this authoritative figure all the time, and the relationships then transfer back into the classroom and make it easier for you to teach as well.
It's such a vibrant and inclusive space now. Before it was just tarmac, wasn't it? Yeah. There wasn't much equipment. The equipment we did have was breaking. It just wasn't suitable for the needs of the children that we've got here. And now we've got something for everyone.
Speaking to the students, we found out their thoughts on the project and what they were excited about.
I'm in shock because the playground was so different to the way it was before, and now it's like completely revamped, and we're really grateful, and I definitely feel like everyone in this school and all the future students will benefit from this school playground as well.
I think the rope thing over there for cross climbing up, that will give me muscles, even more muscles.
Very excited. I did turbo.
Where can you do that?
In the new race track.
On the new racetrack?
Yeah.
Now, after months of being without a dedicated play space, students of Springwater will be thrilled they will soon have their playground back.
And now we're joined by Chloe Tier, Disability Officer and Campaigner from Leeds Trinity University. Chloe says she was subject to online abuse after missing a deadline due to ill health. Welcome, Chloe. Can you tell the viewers what exactly happened?
So I was requested to write a freelance piece in the space of 2 days. I am an established freelance writer but also work full-time, and that was quite a short deadline. And I managed to get 80% of the piece done and just asked for a 1-day extension. You'd assume there would be a bit of leeway in this, but got horrible remarks because of asking for that deadline.
That's terrible. And do you feel this is a symptom of the way the UK is now, that it's becoming a little bit too ruthless and there's not enough room for mistakes or for people to have such a disability?
I think, she made it out that it was because of my disability, that there was never any mention of that in the first place. It was pinpointed that I was unable to do it because of my disability, whereas I think an able-bodied person would have struggled with that kind of timeline.
Yeah.
And, she repeatedly said I shouldn't advertise myself as such if I couldn't, complete the work. And I've shown on numerous occasions that I am more than capable of doing that. So her comments really just...
And the way you use that language there, advertise, that in
yeah.
itself sounds business-like, doesn't it? And
exactly. I replied to her very, sincerely, and it was, very apologetic, and all I got was abuse back. And even when I tried to justify and remain professional, that just wasn't something she did.
And just out of interest, before we wrap up, would you say that there is any advice you could give to anybody who has this problem themselves? I mean, if they're subject to some kind of abuse in terms of their disability or
I'd
any
say
problem?
Probably, don't take it personally, and I know that's incredibly difficult, but people don't understand what you go through, and to kind of be shortened down to that isn't right. So, we deserve better.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Chloe. That's very kind of you.
No problem.
And now it's over to Dan for the sport.
Thanks, James. It's been announced today that Leeds-born former rugby league coach Maurice Bamford has passed away. He was 83. Bamford was highly regarded for his coaching career. He managed a host of Yorkshire clubs, including Leeds, Bradford, Northern and York. His daughter Jane confirmed he had passed away in hospital on Wednesday evening. In rugby league, Leeds Rhinos interim coach Richard Agar has offered an injury update on Jack Walker, Conrad Hurrell and Tui Lollahir. This comes ahead of their relegation clash against London Broncos at the Magic Weekend on Sunday. Agar confirmed that Walker will return from a hamstring injury this weekend, with the fullback set to take over from Lollahir, who rolled an ankle in last week's defeat against Castleford Tigers. The Rhinos coach also revealed that Conrad Hurrell has a chance of being fit for the weekend after recovering from a hamstring injury. Back to you, James.
Many thanks, Dan. And now for the weather. How's it looking, Amy?
Thanks, James. So today it will be highs of 17 degrees. It will be dry and fine throughout, sunny periods intermittent throughout the day. A little patch of cloud could develop later on, but still feeling warm and dry. It is cooler than it has been earlier on in the week, however those sunny intervals will help it feel more summery. Going into tonight, the winds will develop stronger, but it will also leave some clear periods. Looking on to tomorrow, there will continue to be a good deal of nice weather. A little cloudier than what we've been used to, and maybe a little bit of rain in the evening. But don't let that ruin your plans for the bank holiday weekend. Back to
Many thanks, Amy. Now do keep sending us your weather pictures. We love to see them. We've had some wonderful pictures so far. Tomorrow we'll be showing you the best pictures we've received over the last 2 weeks, and we've had many, many, many of them. And that's all we've got time for on Yorkshire Voice. Remember to keep up to date with all our news stories and from today, and on our website at Yorkshire-Voice, or follow us on Twitter at YorkshireV. Also, we can be found on Snapchat. We'll be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock for our final show here at Yorkshire Voice. From all of us here in the studio, a very good evening to you. Goodbye for now.